Here's your General Hospital spoilers sneak peek at some of the action that will take place in Port Charles the week of June 2 to 6, 2025. Be sure to tune in to ABC each weekday to see how it all plays out. Elizabeth makes a discovery. Michael and Christina reunite. Brooklyn unleashes her fury. Alexis is in the hot seat. Sunny offers counsel. Michael and Willow's divorce hearing begins. Sunny opens up to Jason. Trina defends Jocelyn. Rick strongarms Alexis. Jordan learns more about Dalton. Brooklyn and Lulu come face to face. Lucky surprises Elizabeth. Michael takes the stand. Anna puts pressure on Brennan. Laura and Sunny discuss family matters. Lucky faces a hard truth. Anna shares her suspicions with Jason. Curtis and Portia host a family gathering. Sasha is overwhelmed. Willow springs into action. Carly confronts Jason. Cody and Molly get better acquainted. Curtis meets with Jordan. General Hospital spoilers for Monday, June 2 reveal that Ace Cassidy's missing $10 million will cause a crisis while Rocco Falconeri wants answers. Sonny Corinthos will also promise Giovanni Gio Palmieri. So here's what GH fans can expect. First, Gio will pay Sonny a visit and push for the truth. Sonny will swear he didn't know that Gio was his grandson until the nurse's ball, so Gio will decide he believes him. As for whatever Gio does next, he'll declare that he's going to do it on his own. Sonny will understand that Gio's hurting and has to work through things in his own way, but he'll remind Gio that he can always come to him for support. Next, Brooklyn Quartermain will have a chance to question Lois Cerullo and Gloria Cerullo together now that Gloria's back to accept responsibility. Brooklyn will ultimately ask if Gloria and Lois regret giving her baby to Camilla Palmieri, but they may stand by their belief that it was the best course of action at the time. Meanwhile, Dante Falconeri will give Rocco updates on his recently discovered half-brother. Rocco will reel over the news that Dante had a son with Brooklyn that he just now found out about. After Rocco wonders how Gio learned the truth, Lulu Spencer will have to admit it was her fault the secret spilled in such a traumatic way. At Elizabeth Baldwin's place, Lucky Spencer just admitted he knows more about her accident than he's told her. When Liz questions what Lucky means, will he go through with a full confession or chicken out in the end? Either way, Lucky has raised Elizabeth's suspicions and will have to provide some sort of an explanation now. In Alexis Davis' office, Laura Collins just showed up with concerns about some missing money. On Monday's GH episode, Laura will point out that $10 million has been removed from Ace's estate, so she'll put Alexis on the spot. Can Alexis figure out how to explain the missing funds without tipping Laura off to the blackmail plot that Rick Lansing and Ava Jerome are carrying out? Welcome to the General Hospital Daily YAPP for a quick, and by that, I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. Now that Christina is able to talk to her mother about her insane idea to cut Ava's brakes and kill her, she might be thinking a little more straight. While she still looks like she is walking around in a nonchalant daze, she did just shrug and tell Alexis that maybe she should just pay for her crime, even if she didn't really mean to kill Rick and Elizabeth. Alexis balked at the idea immediately, which now tells us how far gone Alexis is. She just got her law license back under a year ago, and she has put it at risk multiple times. Not only is she actively covering for her dumb daughter, but she is also embezzling money from a baby. Rick finds this part to be the most amusing of all, considering the moral high horse Alexis is always on, especially when it comes to children. With Laura starting to suspect things, will Alexis bring Laura into the fold? It also looks as if Lucky is about to tell Elizabeth the truth, which would, in turn, get Rick in trouble. Maybe they should all just listen to Christina and let her take the fall for her own dumb idea. All they'd have to do is go along with Diane's suggestion that Christina be committed. Since she is already crazy and has admitted she wasn't thinking straight, is that really a stretch at this point? Want more details? We got you. Soap Central has the best full recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not seriously do an amity. Forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. In a heartbreaking turn of events, General Hospital reveals the complete unraveling of Willow's life, once defined by selflessness and quiet resilience. Now at the center of a devastating custody battle, Willow has lost everything that once gave her purpose: her children, her identity, and her place in Port Charles. Willow's journey from loving mother to social outcast began with a series of missteps. Her deep trust in Drew, once seen as a supportive ally, has now been weaponized against her. Drew's manipulation, from securing medical proxy rights to positioning himself as guardian, is now being exposed in court. These actions, compounded by emotional instability and poor judgment, painted Willow as unfit in the eyes of the law. Michael, supported by Jason and even Brick, built a compelling legal case, portraying Willow as vulnerable, easily influenced, and incapable of prioritizing the children's best interests. The court ultimately sided with Michael, granting him full custody of Wiley and Amelia, effectively stripping Willow of her legal rights as their mother. Emotionally devastated, Willow begins to see the truth behind Drew's intentions: that she was used as a pawn in a power play against the Corinthos family. Subtle manipulations, like urging her to distrust Carly and cast doubt on Michael, were strategic, not supportive. Her realization comes too late, and the damage is irreversible. With her reputation destroyed and her relationship with Michael in ruins, Willow makes the difficult decision to leave Port Charles. Her departure is quiet, marked by a single suitcase and a silent goodbye. She writes a letter of apology to Michael and her children, acknowledging her failures and expressing regret for losing sight of what truly mattered: family. What haunts Willow most is not just the loss of custody, but the emotional severing of the mother-child bond. Once adored by Wiley and Amelia, she now sees them turning toward Michael and Carly for comfort. These subtle changes, a child calling for another in their sleep, a hesitant hug, cut deeper than any courtroom ruling. The betrayal by her birth mother, Nina, only adds to Willow's collapse. After years of trying to build a relationship, Willow discovers Nina's actions played a role in the unraveling of her life. Her interference in Sasha's pregnancy and alliance with Drew not only shattered Willow's fragile trust, but obliterated the possibility of reconciliation. Drew's legal troubles deepen, Michael has closed his heart to forgiveness, and Nina is erased from Willow's life, not just physically but emotionally. Willow is left without allies, without family, and without direction. Now, she embarks on a journey with no clear destination. It's no longer about reclaiming custody or restoring her place in Port Charles. It's about survival and rediscovery. Willow is no longer a teacher, wife, or mother. She's a woman searching for the remnants of herself, determined to rebuild from the ruins of betrayal, loss, and emotional devastation. In the end, Willow's departure marks more than a physical exit. It symbolizes the end of one chapter and the painful beginning of another. Whether she returns remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: she must leave to heal, to reflect, and perhaps, one day, to forgive herself. General Hospital spoilers reveal a new sneak peek video offers a first look at Rocco Falconeri's brother Shocker. Dante Falconeri is about to confess that Giovanni Gio Palmieri is his son with Brooklyn Quartermain, so Rocco will get some stunning confirmation. The sneak peek video, which is for the episode that'll air Monday, June 2, starts off with a confused Rocco, who shows Lulu Spencer a video that's been causing a stir online. GA spoilers say Rocco will be baffled over Gio's violin-smashing meltdown. and he'll be just as perplexed over all the posts he's been seeing about Gio's true mom and dad. After Rocco admits he read Dante and Brooklyn were Gio's parents, he'll ask Lulu if this is for real. Rocco will seem like his head is spinning over all the wild information, so they'll push Lulu to spill what she knows. Since Dante already insisted he should break the news to Rocco himself, Lulu will land in a tight spot. Before Lulu can really give Rocco an answer, Dante will arrive and confess that what Rocco heard is right. Yeah, Gio's telling the truth. He is my son, and he is your brother, Dante confirms in the sneak peek clip. From there, Rocco will have tons of questions, so Dante will answer them all as best as he can. Lulu will end up having to provide some answers as well, since Rocco will want to know how Gio made this stunning discovery. Although Lulu never meant for Gio to find out in such a traumatic way, it was still her fault since she confronted Lois Cerullo at the nurses' ball. Gio overheard the Curveball backstage, so Lulu may give Rocco updates on that soon enough. General Hospital spoilers reveal that Michael Corinthos will face a witness stand curveball. It looks like Rick Lansing will deliver a courtroom surprise, so let's talk about what's in store. The week of June 2 to 6 will bring some tense scenes as Michael and Willow Corinthos prepare to face off with the help of their attorneys. Diane Miller will come out swinging against Willow and Drew Kane in court, but Rick will have a few tricks up his sleeve. Although Nina Reeves has been torn about whether to betray Sasha Corbin and blab about Michael being the true father of her baby, she may give Rick this information in the end. There's no paternity proof, but even the implication that Michael cheated and has been hiding a pregnant mistress could help sway the judge. Nina doesn't want Willow to move to DC with Drew, and knows there's a chance she'll do just that if she scores full custody. Even so, the alternative could be Willow losing her kids completely. Willow would loathe Nina if she found out her mom had the power to help her win in court and did nothing. That's why Nina might supply Rick with the info he needs to bring the paternity truth to light. However, Nina may have a special request to make things a little easier on Sasha. Perhaps Nina will push Rick to put the heat on Michael instead and get him to make a courtroom confession. If Rick can get Michael to crack on the stand, then Sasha may have no choice but to talk about their passionate encounter and who her baby actually belongs to. Sasha may avoid committing perjury if Michael spills and paves the way for her to back up his claims. Regardless, some paternity-related mayhem should break out, so don't miss all the shocking moments to come. Michael and Sasha's actions should come back to haunt them in a big way soon enough. It's never too late to start over, and having been a hard couple of years for General Hospital alum Haley Pullos, it appears the actress has set out to do just that. An award-winning photographer recently posted some new headshots of the former ABC soap star on her official Instagram page, Headshots with Dash, while tagging Pullos and stating, "I love actors." The set of 5 photos began with Pullos wearing a green shirt and pink lipstick, followed one of her smiling for the camera, dressed in a cute blue and white plaid shirt. 3 more filled the post, with the last one of the actress wearing a black leather jacket. With the new headshots comes the assumption that Pullos is planning to line up some auditions in the near future, if she hasn't already. And for those who weren't aware, this new start all stems from a 2023 DUI charge, resulting from a wrong-way crash on a Los Angeles freeway. In July 2024, Pullos had been sentenced to time served after serving a 90-day jail sentence, along with 5 years probation and 200 hours of community service. During this difficult time, the actress who played her on-screen mom Alexis, Nancy Lee Grahn, had been one of her biggest supporters and updated fans back in May 2024 after talking with Pullos. "It is hard to discern the truth when the media is for sale," Grahn stated. "What's true is Haley drank excessively and got in a car. She is paying for that while at the same time assisting her victim in getting as much compensation as possible. Thank God all parties have and will survive." The custody battle between Michael Corinthos and Willow Tate has reached a boiling point on General Hospital, unveiling a cascade of betrayals, emotional upheaval, and shocking revelations. At the center of the storm is a secret that could destroy Michael's case and shatter his carefully constructed image. The conflict intensified when Michael returned from Germany and discovered Willow's affair with Drew Kane. In response, he swiftly secured emergency custody of their children, Wiley and Amelia, effectively cutting Willow off. His conditions were clear and harsh. She must end her relationship with Drew to regain access to her children. This ultimatum, while extreme, underscores Michael's belief that Drew is a destabilizing presence in their children's lives. Willow, devastated, made an emotional plea at Carly's home, only to face Michael's unyielding stance. The pressure mounted, placing Willow in an impossible position: choose her partner or her children. While Michael fought in court, Nina Reeves pursued a lead of her own. Her investigation, involving strategic questioning and bribery, uncovered a critical piece of evidence. Michael had spent the night before Halloween with Sasha Gilmore, the same night that resulted in Sasha's pregnancy. This contradicted Michael's portrayal of himself as a morally upright parent wronged by Willow's infidelity. The implication is serious. Nina's evidence suggests Michael also betrayed their marriage, potentially as a retaliatory act. If exposed in court, this could undermine his credibility and reshape the custody narrative, painting him not as the aggrieved parent, but as a hypocrite engaged in the same behavior he condemns. Revealing Michael's affair is not without consequences. Nina's disclosure could devastate Sasha, who has been hiding the true paternity of her child. Furthermore, it risks drawing attention to Nina's own past indiscretions with Drew, potentially complicating her relationship with Willow. The emotional toll on Wiley is particularly alarming. As a child already grappling with family upheaval, learning of his father's betrayal could lead to confusion and emotional trauma. In a worst-case scenario, this stress may manifest physically, possibly resulting in Wiley fainting or requiring medical attention, forcing the adults to confront the damage caused by their conflicts. Should Nina reveal the truth, Michael's carefully curated image as a protective, moral father would collapse. He would be forced to reckon with his own flaws and the role he played in his family's breakdown. If Wiley's health suffers as a result of this chaos, Michael may be left questioning whether winning custody was worth the cost. This revelation would send shockwaves across Port Charles. Carly, a staunch supporter of Michael, would have to accept that her son isn't blameless. Jason's support for Michael might waver upon realizing the truth. For Sasha, while truth-telling could be liberating, it could also isolate her socially. Ultimately, this storyline illustrates the destructive nature of secrets and vengeance in custody battles. If Nina exposes Michael's actions, it may help Willow, but at the cost of further emotional devastation, especially to the children. Wiley's potential collapse would stand as a heartbreaking symbol of the collateral damage when adults prioritize revenge over healing. The upcoming week promises even more tension. Michael and Christina reconnect at the courthouse, their sibling bond tested by the legal chaos. Michael's testimony will spotlight his emotional conflict, while Willow emerges as a wild card, possibly conceding to Michael's demands to see her children again. Meanwhile, Drew reels from Willow's shifting loyalty, hinting at a potential legal counterattack. The Corinthos family feud deepens, with long-standing loyalties and relationships put to the test. Lucky and Elizabeth. Elizabeth uncovers a mysterious letter tied to Lucky's past, leading to an emotionally charged reunion. Their shared history resurfaces, questioning whether love or heartbreak will define their future. Brooklyn and Gio. Tensions rise as Brooklyn confronts Glory over a betrayal, while Sonny offers guidance to his newly discovered grandson Joe. Midweek, Brooklyn and Lulu face off in a dramatic encounter that could either lead to reconciliation or deepen their rift. Curtis and Portia. Curtis navigates personal challenges while hosting a warm family gathering with Portia. But the peace is short-lived, as Curtis later meets with Jordan to discuss critical new intel that could shift key power dynamics in Port Charles. As General Hospital enters this pivotal week, the characters must face the consequences of their actions. Betrayals, secrets, and emotional choices take center stage, reminding viewers that in the quest for control, it's often the children who pay the highest price. Stay tuned as the drama continues to unfold. Here is the General Hospital Weekly Recap for episodes that aired May 26 through May 30th, 2025. Michael gave Willow an ultimatum, while Tracy learned the truth about Gio and Dante, and Lulu reached an impasse. This week on General Hospital, the earth-shattering events of the nurses' ball continued to have repercussions in Port Charles. Lois confirmed to Brooklyn that Gio was her son, and tried to explain that she and Gloria tried to ensure that her baby went to a loving home. BLQ then explained to Dante that she was young and had no idea what to do when she found out she was pregnant, and didn't know Gio was their son until the young man announced it on stage. Willow and Drew watched helplessly as Michael took Wiley away from the ball. Sunny asked Nina to make sure Willow was aware of what a creep Drew was. Tracy returned home to learn the shocking news about Gio. A distraught Gio felt his whole life had been a lie. Cody told Lulu that he felt they had made the wrong choices. Trina and Kai danced between the sheets. After interrogating a bartender at a bar, Nina started to piece together the fact that Michael and Sasha were together the night he found out Willow cheated with Drew. BLQ and Dante tried telling Gio that they didn't know he was their son, but the furious young man took off with Emma. Dante confronted Lulu. Olivia wasn't sure if she could ever forgive Lois. Drew and Willow told Mac that Jason and Michael had kidnapped Wiley and Amelia, but Mac learned Michael had a court order giving him temporary sole custody. Dante asked Lulu if she was the one who told Gio the truth, but she soon realized the boy must have overheard her talking with Lois about it. Dante yelled at Lulu and told her she only made things worse by meddling. He argued that she did what she did to make Lulu look bad and make him want her back. Lulu was horrified and told him they would never be anything more than friends. Michael told Willow that each time he talked to Wiley, the young boy wondered when he was going home. Emma consoled Gio and promised to stay with him wherever he went. Michael gave Willow an ultimatum: dump Drew and move out, or she won't be able to see her kids. A resolved Drew and Willow decided to work to find something on Michael to discredit him in court. Drew wouldn't let Willow give Michael Leela's ring back and said he had every right to possess it. Sasha and Jason agreed to keep up the charade. Tracy was horrified when she realized she and Sunny were now connected by blood. Carly asked Curtis to pull a media attack on Drew, but he countered that because Michael owned Aurora and said he was working on another plan. Nina told Ava what she learned about Michael and Sasha, but she was hesitant to use that information at the custody hearing for fear of betraying Sasha. Nina told Ava that if Willow got full custody of her kids, she would never leave Drew. Alexis had Christina and Lucky give her details from the night of Rick's accident. Curtis told Portia that he was going to do something Drew can't: find Jacinda. Gio told Emma they were going back to the Quartermains to get answers. Brooklyn told Lois she didn't want anything to do with her. Then, Gloria entered the scene and told her granddaughter that if she wanted a fight, she should fight her. Laura told Alexis she was concerned that a lot of money was missing from Ace's trust. Lucky explained to Elizabeth that he knew more about her accident than he had previously disclosed to her. The week ended when Rick asked Nina if she had something new to add to her statement for the custody hearing. General Hospital remembered, "It's a soap opera this week, folks, and we couldn't be more thrilled." For pure soap fans that have been absorbing this genre for decades, this past week was what it's all about. A week full of returns, reveals, reunions, romance, OMG, injected into our veins. Now, What even happened this week on GH besides everything? There was literally not one wasted moment, not one scene that didn't capture our attention. We don't remember having a soapgasmic week like this in forever, and it doesn't seem to be letting up. The fallout from the Geo reveal was everything we could have hoped for and more. A retcon teenage pregnancy that nobody asked for, which would connect Dante and Brooklyn forever, was met with resistance at first, but has become one of the most compelling tales we have seen in years. It's given us some of the best drama we've ever seen on GH, with performances that have ripped our hearts out, made us angry, and made us fall in love. From Brooklyn's anguish, Loi's panicked pain, Dante's confusion, Olivia's fury, Lulu's excuses, and especially Gio's sheer shock, have left us with our jaws on the floor all week. It's the same writers and the same producer we have had for years, but this week, they decided to create a proper soap again, telling us that they have known how to do it all along. We will admit that GH has been steadily improving from the nightmare it was a year ago, but we did not expect anything like this. After years of storyline buildup without a proper payoff, we were prepared for the worst once again, but for once, that is not what happened. It was an abbreviated week with only 4 episodes, but every single one packed some sort of punch. There's a lot to unpack, so let's start now. There's been a lot of debate this week over who is more to blame for the Gio mess, and the way Gio learned who he truly was. Lois and Lulu seem to be the two who fans have an issue with, and our favorite Port Charles pals seem to agree, especially Brooklyn. The one person Lois lives for is her daughter. When she first learned she was pregnant back in the 1990s, she decided she didn't want her child to grow up amongst the Key clan, considering their often backstabbing and chaotic ways. So she decided her grandchild also needed to escape them. In the process, she kept both Brooklyn and her son close, but never bothered telling Brooklyn. And now, Brooklyn wants nothing to do with her. For the moment, we don't blame her. Brooklyn was right about so much. Why would Lois not tell her and Gio the truth once Camilla died and Brooklyn was an adult? By then, she would have been able to make up her own mind whether to throw more chaos into Gio's life or leave well enough alone. Something tells us Brooklyn would have wanted to be his mom, but Lois didn't give either one of them a choice. However, Brooklyn is not the only one furious at Lois. Ned is heartbroken because he had no idea his teenage daughter was pregnant, and Olivia is enraged because she watched her own grandson grow up without ever knowing he was her grandson. Dante hasn't even gotten to Lois yet, but when he does, well, we can't wait. Dante did get to Lulu, and it certainly did not go well. Frankly, she deserved everything she got. Not for 1 second do we believe that Lulu wasn't trying to get back at Brooklyn for this mess. Their rivalry was reborn before Lulu ever found Marty's notes from Lois, with Lulu misjudging Brooklyn over and over again. 4 years had not passed for her, but it had for Brooklyn, a woman who had gone through a ton of positive changes. Dante just called it like he saw it when he ripped into Lulu. She had no business sticking her nose into this mess. She had been told that over and over again by multiple people, yet she did it anyway, and now doesn't want to live with the consequences. Even during her post-ball chat with Cody over beers that her new liver would not enjoy, Lulu thought the situation would work itself out, and everyone would be happy. The truth was out there. If there was a little initial emotional anguish, that was a price to pay for Dante now knowing he had another son. Cody didn't seem to think so and gave Lulu some food for thought. By the time Dante got to her, that food seemed to go in one ear and out the other. Lulu was aghast that Dante was so mean to her. She didn't set out to find his son. No, she only took notes and typed out everything she knew with question marks as she stared at her computer screen and pondered her next move. Either Lulu was lying to Dante or lying to herself, because her big mouth is what set this all in motion. Lois may have told the initial lie, but it wasn't up to Lulu to reveal it. Yes, this is our weekly ode to the wonder that is Tracy Angelica Quartermain, the new magnificent GH matriarch. Our acerbic Q queen is the heart and soul of her family, and this soap, of late, and we wouldn't have it any other way. The look of sheer shock on her face when she learned that Gio was her great-grandson was a sight to behold, but not as gripping as what came next. Tracy's humanity shone right through as she started talking about having 2 sons, a grandson, a granddaughter, and now a great-grandson, as she instinctively went around the living room showing Gio what was his, including a photo of his great-great-grandparents, Edward and Leela. She took our breath away. Then she made Gio cry, so we cried too. When she put her hand to Gio's face and he silently broke down, we wanted to scold her for doing that to our sweet boy, but the moment was too wonderful, as is our Tracy. This week, GA also decided to finally go full speed ahead with Emma and Gio. It feels like the start of an old-fashioned soap opera young summer romance, the kind we grew up on and maybe need in our lives when middle age and real life bring us down. The scenes on the footbridge had us quelling. GH really went there and used the footbridge for its intended purpose, for a boy with no past and a girl with no future to fall in love. Or at least the cousin of the boy with no past and the daughter of the girl with no future. It's where Jason and Robin fell in love, and Carly has been invading that space just a little too much for our tastes over the last few years. Now, it can be known as Emma and Gio's footbridge. We were hoping they would have a nice little summer on the run story, but it looks like those hopes were dashed. However, they could return to the footbridge for their inevitable first kiss. Get on that, GH. Oh, that's right. Michael Quartermain Corinthos re-emerged this week a new man. Literally. This Michael is not much like the old Michael, and not just in looks. This one is a little more reserved, a lot more intense, and a lot less high-strung. This one doesn't remind us of an extension, Carly. Instead, he seems to be his own man who will thankfully be a little more independent than his overbearing mother. This Michael is not about to put up with anything from that insipid Willow or anyone else, for that matter. Has Dark Michael entered the chat? If so, he is more than welcome. We already see the chemistry between Rory Gibson and Sophia Matson, and we want more. It's time to see what Misha 2.0 can do. That custody hearing that starts next week will tell us whether they have what it takes. Oh no, poor Willow had a sad this week. The children she tried to use as leverage when her husband was near death in an ICU burn unit are now with their recovered father rather than their sociopathic Uncle Drew and their nitwit of a mother. How dare Michael make her choose between her children and what we assume is the best sex she's ever had? Or why would she even be with Drew at this point? Michael doesn't want me to be happy. Why? Does anyone cry more than Willow? Does anyone deserve to cry more than Willow? Probably not. When she broke down outside Carly's front door, all we could do was sigh, nod, and laugh. The girl made her bed with Drew in it. Now she has to lie in it. This zombie girl is beyond help, and we are done with her. She actually handed her cult leader Leela Quartermain's engagement ring because he told her to. And he said they would save it for Amelia, not his own daughter, Scout. That brings us to another question. Where the heck is Scout? She performed in the same number as Wiley, yet Drew took off with Willow to retrieve Wiley and Amelia and left Scout at the Metro Court. Did she take an Uber home? Poor Scout. Well, at least Nina thought about the fact that she loves Sasha. Did she remember that Sasha has been a much better daughter to her than Willow? We know that Nina is going to choose door A, which is exposing Sasha's baby daddy's secret, and she is going to do it all for her ungrateful dummy of a daughter. We are usually Team Nina, but this time, we want to see Sasha turn the tables. Poor Charles faces another emotional upheaval in General Hospital as the revelation of Gio's true identity sends shockwaves through the lives of Brooke Lynn and Chase. Gio is confirmed to be Brooke Lynn's biological son from a past relationship with Dante, an unexpected truth that not only changes the course of her personal life, but also places her marriage in jeopardy. At the heart of the turmoil is a painful irony. Just as Brooke Lynn and Chase were preparing for adoption to compensate for Chase's infertility, she discovers she has a biological son. This revelation upends their carefully built life and confronts Brooke Lynn with the complexities of motherhood, guilt, and emotional rediscovery. Chase, who has always been supportive and devoted, begins to notice the growing distance. Although he never doubts Brooke Lynn's intentions, he feels increasingly sidelined. Her emotional investment in reconnecting with Gio becomes all-consuming, leaving Chase in the shadows of a family he once dreamed of building with her. Adding to the emotional strain is Dante's presence, Gio's father and Brooke Lynn's former lover. Though not overtly romantic, the deep, silent connection between them becomes a source of discomfort for Chase. Their shared past and current co-parenting roles create emotional overlaps that leave Chase feeling isolated in his own home. The situation deteriorates further when Chase uncovers past ties between Brooke Lynn and Cody, prompting a storm of doubt. He begins to question whether he truly knows Brooke Lynn, or if he was always just a placeholder in her life. The uncertainty erodes his sense of belonging, and despite Brooke Lynn's efforts to bridge the gap by arranging a joint meeting with Chase, Gio, and Dante, the emotional damage is already deep. Chase's internal conflict reaches a tipping point. Torn between love and the quiet erosion of trust, he prepares for the painful possibility of letting go. He doesn't blame Brooke Lynn for wanting to connect with her son. He understands the depth of a mother's instinct. But he can no longer ignore the signs, the fading affection, the long silences, and the invisible bond between Brooke Lynn and Dante that continues to grow. Meanwhile, Gio remains an innocent figure caught in the emotional crossfire. Just a teenager, he is trying to adjust to the reality of having a mother and father he barely knows, while unknowingly shifting the dynamics of an entire family. As Brooke Lynn becomes consumed by the past she never resolved, her present slowly begins to unravel. The marriage that once seemed stable is now fractured by emotional divergence. Chase finds himself at a crossroads. Does he continue to fight for a love that may no longer be mutual, or does he step aside to preserve what dignity remains? Ultimately, the situation culminates in Chase making a decisive move. Overwhelmed by emotional neglect and unspoken truths, he chooses to end the marriage. The divorce is not driven by anger, but by the quiet realization that their paths have irreversibly diverged. Before leaving, Chase shares one final truth in court, a heartfelt admission that their love, while real, could not survive the weight of buried history and unmet dreams. Brooke Lynn is left to face the consequences of choices made too late. She must now build a new future, not with the man she once promised forever to, but with the son she never thought she'd know, and the past she can no longer escape. A shocking scandal has erupted in General Hospital, threatening to unravel the lives of several Port Charles residents. The latest courtroom bombshell reveals an intimate betrayal involving Nina Reeves and Drew Kane, two of Willow Corinthos' closest allies. The revelation not only jeopardizes Willow's custody battle, but also fractures the very foundation of trust she once relied upon. It all began with an anonymous call in the middle of the night. Carly Spencer, ever the strategist and fiercely protective mother, received a tip suggesting that Nina and Drew had crossed professional boundaries. At first, Carly was skeptical. Drew had always stood by Willow and her daughter, Amelia, while Nina, though complicated, seemed committed to rebuilding ties with her daughter. But with the custody hearing for Amelia set for June 2nd, Carly couldn't ignore the possibility that this betrayal could shift the outcome in Michael Corinthos' favor. She activated her network, private investigators, tech experts, and discreet contacts to verify the claim. Soon enough, undeniable video evidence surfaced. Grainy but clear footage from the Metro Court showed Nina and Drew in an intimate moment that went far beyond comfort. Carly watched the clip repeatedly, stunned by the weight of the betrayal. She knew this could decisively dismantle Willow's legal case by calling into question the integrity of those closest to her. Realizing the potential implications, Carly contacted attorney Diane Miller and later Sonny Corinthos. A meeting was arranged at Kelly's, where Nina and Drew were confronted with the footage. Overwhelmed, they admitted their actions and signed a joint confession under the threat of legal exposure. Carly, armed with the confession and video, prepared to bring the matter to court the next day. Her decision was not without moral cost. She understood the emotional damage this would cause Willow, but for Michael's sake, she pressed forward. At the hearing, Diane introduced the evidence, submitting both the video and the signed admissions. Her argument centered on how the deception by Nina and Drew compromised Willow's judgment as a custodial parent. Diane emphasized that a child's well-being depends on a stable environment, one that had clearly been disrupted. Willow's former counsel, Rick Lansing, countered that Willow was not part of the affair and should not be penalized for others' misconduct. He warned the court of the dangers of conflating the actions of third parties with a parent's capability to provide care. To reinforce her stance, Diane brought in a child psychologist who testified about the emotional risks a child faces when caregivers are untrustworthy. Carly also spoke, describing Willow's reaction to the betrayal and noting her tendency to prioritize loyalty over boundaries, an emotional vulnerability that could impact her role as a parent. Outside the courtroom, the media descended as Nina and Drew arrived, both visibly shaken. Their reputations in Port Charles now lie in ruins, and the consequences extend beyond legal battles. Inside, Jason Morgan and Sonny strategized with Diane to ensure Amelia's future remains secure. If Michael gains custody, they plan to offer Willow a co-parenting option once she's emotionally ready. As the judge called a recess, Willow remained seated, overwhelmed by the events. She had trusted Nina and Drew, and now that trust lay shattered. Though Michael and Carly offered silent support, the emotional damage was evident. The judge will announce a final ruling the following morning. Until then, the courtroom and Port Charles awaits a decision that could redefine family dynamics and reshape relationships for years to come.